burgers ever. Pulse has a lovely voice.
Pulse has a great voice. I always say, like, the only part of commentary I can't do is the voice bit, which I feel like is on the original checklist.
It's I would say it's
Well, you
probably
skipped
the
the
first
original
thing.
checklist. I
Yeah.
don't know. You got hired.
But he just has. If I had his voice,
Oh, he'd
if
be
somehow
unstoppable.
we could do a vocal transplant,
Oh yeah. You know what? He's tired enough that we could probably trick him into it.
I reckon we could.
I reckon he believes that's a thing.
Because I've got the Australian nasally voice. He's got like the smooth British, like he's got like almost the Henry G like banger voice. Like
It's, as Bryce would say, it is a banger voice. Lady Dubsy says Pulse is adorable and I'm happy he's casting OPL. Steel Singh says Pulse is doing amazing for how tired he must be. Soxy says you don't even know what Pulse had to go through to get to Sydney. Lordy, he's wonderful. And OPL Time says Pulse
Lordy.
is chill. So now I'm uncomfortable with how much love Pulse is getting, and I don't like him anymore.
yeah, I believe in Nick's contract it says he has to be the most appreciated
It's true.
talent on the show as well.
And up until this point, that was true. So add that to the list of grievances for the... I was going to say... God damn it, I was about to say Sunday roast. It's the weekend roast. Roll the clip.
And cut.
I think that
Rusty, I believe you... That was weird. Rusty, I believe you have a problem with the state infrastructure.
I have many problems, Nick. I've picked one because we're going along with a similar theme here, it seems.
Please.
I'm not going to go with state infrastructure, but it is something that is owned by the state, right, which is the trains.
Oh, yeah.
So my grievance is not about the trains themselves, as they can notoriously be very bad. Roadworks and stuff like that on weekends, I might add. But it's people on the train.
Oh yes, I'm on board with
So
this.
the other day, caught a train in. I'm going from where I am out west, like half-hour train.
Give us your home address.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I almost did. Like, I forgot where I was for a second. Anyway, I get on the train. There's no one in my whole carriage. Like, empty train. I'm feeling good about this. I sit down. I'm in a 3-person. I can lounge if I
The
want.
dream.
You know, living the life. And then we get to the next stop, and there's only 2 people that get on my whole carriage. And guess where they sit? Next to me.
Really?
Literally next to me.
These people are psychopaths.
With a whole train worth of room for no reason. I'm not even going the direction of the traffic. Like, I'm facing backwards.
You're going back. Oh, you're riding
Yeah.
backwards. You're one of those freaks.
Yeah. And they sat next to me, and it was not comfortable.
This is like one of those things where baristas intentionally spell your name wrong in a cup of coffee, like, just to piss you off. Like, there's no other reason, and they just sat down next to you just to piss you off. Yeah.
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 I'm confused about the intentionally spelling your name wrong thing, but yes, they're
Oh, yeah,
definitely
it's
trying
like
to
a
piss
thing,
you
is it? I swear that, like, you
Yeah,
know, like
I
if your name,
agree with
if your
Bryce.
name is like Sam, and then like spell it with a Z or something, you know what I
Right,
mean? It's like your
yeah.
name is Nick, and it's like they'll
spell it with an H
yeah,
like
they'll
an
spell it
idiot.
with an H like an animal. Yeah, like that's a thing that happens. Like if you're just making coffees all day, you can bloody spice it up. You know, you can get that little satisfying reaction out of someone to just read that and just be like, what? But then it's not worth them like accosting.
Do you know
about
why
it.
he knows
Yeah.
what their thought process is?
Why?
Because Bryce is also a train catching animal. So he is in the mind
Yeah, right.
of the other train catching
Yeah.
people, and he knows exactly day to day what their life is like. They're all couch surfers, I'll
Yeah.
have you know.
They are.
don't have their own
Everyone on the
room,
train.
and they're just
None
there-
of them own a
yeah.
vacuum cleaner.
They don't own vacuum cleaners, and they make French toast to the microwave. I don't know where I was going with this.
So what did these people do?
They traumatized me by being very smelly the whole way. And they got off at the same station as me, which was 30 minutes of train.
That's
so
nuts.
It's a lot of train.
It was super uncomfortable, and I was next to the window.
And
I
so
couldn't
you were
get out.
trapped.
Yeah.
You could have just climbed over, like
could
made a
have,
statement.
yeah.
Or said literally anything. You know what I mean? Like, you just like you could be like, hey, like
Were you going to
like
gym?
I'm gonna
Sorry,
go
I
sit
don't
down,
have that much confidence. I'm a very socially anxious human.
Yeah, will at
Okay,
lunch.
sorry.
I can't
Ooh.
do it.
This is a contentious thing, but will at lunch.
Yeah.
And we'll at one of those like communal lunch areas. We went and got ramen.
Yep.
Myself, Bryce, Richard, Rusty.
Thanks for inviting me.
Pretty much all the casters were there. No hosts allowed. Anyway, Bryce walks up to the person at the communal table, and they're halfway through their ramen, and told them to move.
No, okay, no,
What?
no.
He-
I was
he
like,
yelled.
hey, like I was like, hey, sorry to like bother you, but like, is it like could if you move over there, we can sit together? Like, is that okay? And then he was like, oh yeah, sure. Like I was polite, but like, what do you mean?
So much
If somebody,
self-confidence.
no, I'm all about like if somebody like asks me to like swap seats on like a plane and I'm like alone so they can sit with their like significant, like I'll do it. Like I don't mind. So I assume if people are
A plane
reasonably
is
like,
halfway through ramen, Bryce.
yeah, no, but like I feel like people. I mean, maybe call me an optimist, but people are generally good. So
No.
it's like if it's
so young.
if
No,
it's
no,
not like a problem, and I'm like, hey, oh, sorry to bother you. Like, please, is that okay? And he's like, yeah, sure. It was fine.
You know what's happening right now?
What?
There's a Counter-Strike Australia esports tournament on tonight, and there's a caster there going, so some guy, I'm just sitting there eating ramen, and some asshole comes up to me and makes me move. Bryce, air your grievance.
Oh, my grievance is actually with you, Nick Boy.
Thought it'd be small.
I thought you were so close.
Yeah.
And I don't know where my pen is. It's gone. Anyway, it doesn't actually. I don't even need it. I just like holding the pen. But a couple of weeks ago, I was strolling through Twitch chat, and it was brought to my attention that OPL Twitch chat just has these god awful slow mode and R9K mode on, and it really, really bothered me.
It's on right now.
Yeah, I know. It really pisses me off. I don't actually get a chance to really spend much time in Twitch chat, but. Yeah, and I feel like that was actually coming from you. So you're the god-awful human being that makes those modes go on. And that is my grievance. It's a problem. We need to fix it. The best thing about Twitch chat is just degeneracy, like copy-paste garbage. And you can't do that. Because you're like, no, let's get rid of it. There's my grievance. How about that?
That's a real throwdown.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with this. It's
What?
true.
That's not true.
It's
That is
true that
not
I don't
true.
like Twitch chat. And it's true that I think all of you are the people that sit next to Rusty on the train. But I don't have that level of power. Can I undo it?
You said you did, because
You
I
actually-
complained about
Oh,
it
did I?
audibly.
You have a command that can undo it.
Oh, what is
But
it?
if you don't know what it is, then he didn't do it.
No, we were upstairs watching a game of League of Legends, and I was like, why is like R9K mode on? Like, what? Why? And then you were like, oh, I did that so I could read it.
All right. Well, I feel like you're just playing to the audience. You're just pandering right now with
No.
this one.
I
I'm
feel
just
like
not-
if there
I
ever
just
is a
don't have a
panda that
kid.
will work, however,
This is the one.
this is a smart
This
panda.
is for sure the one. Yeah. Yeah. You're smarter than the average ticker roll. I'll give you that. All right. The final grievance that needs to be aired. Pulse, what you got?
Well, I was going to talk about how terrible my visa situation was, but I just, at the start of the segment, just had a ton of praise just thrown my way, a ton of compliments. So now I'm just happy, and to be honest, too tired to talk about, grievances. So isn't that what life's about, though, just being too tired to really talk about things that bother you?
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Is his grievance about the grievance segment that we're just doing?
That's what it
Is
feels
he
like.
roasting the
It
roast?
feels like.
Come on, man.
I
Get
mean,
on
everyone's
board.
been at the Australian government, so I feel like, give them a break, turn it on the casters.
You coward. You don't want to call out the visa
No, I
department.
don't, because like, next time I want my visa to be accepted instantly.
Well, I will. You
Because I'm
screwed
sure the
up
Australian
with
government's
Pulse's
watching
visa.
right now.
You can't throw me out of the country. I was born here. I'm not on some sort of visa. There has to be a bunch of paperwork to kick me out. You make sure this man stays. We need him and his
I
beautiful
think we
hair.
have grievances and Nick has rants.
He does. Well, the funny thing about Pulse's visa, and I haven't seen his visa paperwork,
Give me your visa paperwork.
Hold on.
but he's been here twice on it already.
Yeah.
How did the third one go wrong? Third
don't
time's normally
understand.
the charm, not the.
I've committed no
Stuffer.
major crimes in the last 3 years.
What were the minor crimes?
I mean, I feel
Torrenting.
like playing a Lowy top lane is probably just an offense, like, internationally, right?
Do we feel like that's something the visa department is interested in?
I imagine so. I imagine just I face someone in solo queue and they're just like, this guy.
Go home.
Yeah. Take it back to Europe West.
Writes a letter to the government. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was supposed to be the whole thing, but I think there's been a game delay, so we're just going to need to drag the
I have a
grievance
question then.
thing. Please.
Because I was talking about sitting on trains. If you go to the airport, and you do this plenty,
Yep.
and there's
At least once a week.
Everyone sits with like a seat between them. Are you the alpha that sits down in between
You
those
mean
people? or do
you mean like in the
in
terminal,
the terminal
waiting
waiting
for
for the plane?
But I have a theory about this. It's because you can't if you wait. No, this doesn't work. Well, here's my thing. That people need to space because you can't sit back to back with people in the at the
Yeah, 'cause
terminal.
you headbutt.
So it's like because you headbutt the person. So so if there's someone sitting like there, I need to sit here.
But they're not diagonal.
No.
No, they're not. That's the
That's
point.
why there needs to. Yeah, because I actually agree with this. And do you know why I agree with this? Because I got like KO'd one time in the lovely Shanghai airport because I was sitting in the airport, just minding my own business, most likely with my headphones on, just sitting there playing some Arch Hero. like, as we all do from time to time. And someone sat down with me and threw their head back. And I thought I had died. Like, I thought that was it. Like, I'm concussed. I'm going to die on the plane. So that's my theory as well, is that because you sit back to back with someone, you can't actually sit back to back.
So your problem seems to be either people are sitting too close or they're not sitting close enough.
Yeah, well, look, if there is one seat between everyone and
half
there's
the
like
seats.
100 people standing, then there is a problem with all the people standing,
Mm-hmm.
or the fact that everyone sits down with a gap opposed to just sitting down.
Well, I'm sorry, Goldilocks, that everything isn't just like absolutely perfect for you
Nick
seating
and
wise all the
Jake
time.
have 100% like thought too much. It's got nothing to do with like bashing your head. It's the urinal theory.
What?
It's the urinal theory.
I know that you're a homeless bum, but you don't piss in the terminal.
It's like, okay, here we go. It's like urinal, like one in the middle.
Yeah.
It's weird to just walk in and go next to them. So it's weird to just walk in and sit next to someone, but there's a gap, right? So you
I don't
inbuilt
find
the
that
gap
weird.
the entire time.
I'm not supposed to stand directly next to the other guy peeing.
See,
We're
And
not
then-
supposed to
I see it
share
as a
the
compliment.
one
but
urinal.
but as soon as there's like as soon as there is a single gap, like you
Yep.
can fill them easily.
normally, I think Bryce
I'm with you, bro.
Yep.
I'm with
Yeah.
is an idiot.
Yeah,
Normally.
normally. I know
But-
because I've read your comic.
The one thing that Bryce is correct about
Yep.
is like walking upstairs and like I am a stander before and after the plane. Because my theory is, and I'm sure Bryce shares a similar theory, I hope, because I've just given him the first ever compliment. You're about to sit for at least an hour and a half.
Absolutely.
So I would prefer to actually stand, maybe stretch out the legs, jumping jacks on the spot, something
Yep,
like that.
yep.
Like get the heart racing, stink up next to Rusty.
on the train.
But like I'm not one of those people that will like go to an airport and sit and then get up and then go sit on my plane. Because I also drive the 50 to 4.5 hour minute drive to get to the airport in the first place. Very seated.
I'm an airport stander as well, and I like to do that thing where I sit my bag on the thing, and then I walk just far enough away that everyone starts getting uncomfortable, and then I come back to it. All right, it is time for the final game of the day. We need to head into the Macca's Champ Select for Gravitas versus Bombs.
Thank you, Nick Boy. Actually, I do have a grievance at airports,
Yep.
which is everybody steps forward at the baggage carousel. Everyone just takes a step back. This is better for everybody.
Where do you stand in the baggage carousel? Do you have like a spot? Do you like stand right next to the spit out your luggage, like the mouth?
No, because I
The
like to
mouth
see
of
it
the
coming,
carousel.
right?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I have time to like prepare my strategy to debaggage my bags.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, I
do
don't
you
have a
do?
strategy. I mean, I just rock up and wherever I'm standing, I just stand there.
That's boring.
But then,
All right, well, we're going to get into this Macca's Champion Select. Final
yeah.
game of the day, Bombers versus Gravitas.
yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one.
All right, what type of interesting do you just throw out there, Jim? Because interesting can have like 6 different meanings as a caster.
Yeah, who knows? We've got a new jersey though. In the hands of Gravitas, they've got one for every single team they face this split, I believe. And you've just been given a
I've
gift.
been handed
What is that?
presumably
what
what was made last week.
it
on
looks
the
like
show.
fairy bread with Nutella. I've been given it correct. Yeah, okay. There you go. Welcome to Australia. I mean, you've definitely had fairy
Is
bread
this an
before.
Australian?
Without the Nutella
dish?
normally.
What? You mean- without the Nutella's bread.
Yeah,
So
bread,
you're
yeah,
saying
it's,
that
it's
bread
bread,
is
butter, and sprinkles. That's an Australian classic.
okay. All right. Anyway, so we have Nico and an Olaf ban
Yes, we do.
and a Yumi ban.
Is
from
Sejuani going to
Bombers.
hit the deck as well? I probably expect so. Karma, super high priority as well. And I like the Yumi ban against Gravitas. They've shown a propensity to pick that one up. They like pairing it with the Ezreal down there. Raid, kind of like Raze, has played a bunch of Ezreal in the last couple of weeks, and Decoy been shifting around to different champions there.
Oh, Sona comes out as the third ban, and all right, I bet you it will be Sejuani final ban for this.
Yeah, you have... Oh, for the
For the
For the
toast.
food. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the bet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Nutella, so I don't want to. I don't want to win.
Well, I don't want to either. do I?
Just-
We're in
Neither
an
of
impasse,
us
aren't we, Jim?
Want this? Want this piece of hot trash that was just left
Oh,
out? Oh,
that's
there we go.
Sejuani, yeah.
So you win. You get to scoff it. Well done.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But a lot of options open, and that is going to be one of them. There's that, the Silas, the Akali, a bunch of power picks up and available. Aatrox is another one getting hovered there.
And we just threw down right now, first pick Aurelia coming out from Gravitas. But, I mean, there's a lot that can actually still play into Aurelia, such as Aatrox.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff. This
Yeah.
is kind of, I feel like a meta for solo laners to shine. The champions are fun. Junglers are miserable because it's like Sejuani top tier. I
Yeah.
feel like that was genuinely like a Pabu tweet this week. It's just like, I love that my jungler is miserable because I get to have all the fun.
That sounds like a public tweet.
Yeah, it does.
Fair. But that being said, first phase of bans, Olaf taken away, Sejuani taken away, so we actually do open the field to other things.
Certainly do.
Yeah, so Akali Xayah coming through from Bombers.
Yeah, kind of incentivizing the Rakan takeaway here, but in isolation isn't the best there. Potentially trying to play the bait game here are the Bombers. In terms of their lineup so far this split, it's of course been the inclusion of Luch and Wilder coming in, replacing Volkan and FBI going into international teams there. Luch has had a fairly rough start, I think, being locked in the Xayah, probably very comfortable on that one. Last week, though, much better than the previous one, so already kind of on the up and up here, and it's so interesting to me that the support meta has kind of gone this way, right? It's like Lux, Sona, Karma, all of these guys coming back. Does kind of trend in that, like, there's different levels of extreme. You go from like the Alistars, the Leona, and then you have like the Zyra, the Sona on the other end, and we're definitely down the mage end of the spectrum here now.
Yeah, for sure. We're just a step away from Brand just coming back. Brand, Annie, you know.
And then somebody just throws caution to the wind and it's like, all right, we back to Leona, boys. We're going in. And then it just starts again. It's just cyclical.
It's a cycle, right? You know, like you bring one type of support back and the next archetype just comes in to defeat it, and it's just a cycle.
Yep.
But yeah, Jarvan comes through us, next ban Skarner as well. Very similar situation to last game, actually, where we just had a bunch of second phase jungle bans and then just looking to scrape the barrel of what's left.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's really like line pick Sejuani, very strong because of the solo lanes. Line pick Olaf, just very good. So they tend to be the junglers that get banned away in the first phase, and then everybody else kind of deprioritizes that one. And given that you've expended jungle bans already, other things are open. And yeah, junglers kind of do just fall down the priority list into the second phase here. A Talia one, we just did see it in the mid lane, albeit unsuccessful, but also potentially another jungler there. So we could be seeing the 4 from 4 here if Gravitas take the gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, we'll see what that final ban is. It's going to be Azir, so yeah, back to the mid lane. Still a lot open in the jungles. Could see, you know, Nocturne, Trundle.
Yeah, Lee Sin, Rek'Sai.
Rek'Sai, yeah.
Wilder going to lock that one down for himself. I actually do like the Azir ban. Already, Gravitas' comp will be short range, right? Your 80 carry offers a lot of that, but Siva wants to get people into the mix with her ulti and then short range herself, and Ryoma has already shown this split. His Azir is definitely something to be feared, so I feel like the best performer on the Bombers this split as well, out and out, is Ryoma, Tommy in the mid lane, so kind of pinching his options there makes a lot of sense. Ooh.
Hey, Pike coming through. Yeah, and with the Lux already on the table, I mean, again, Lux can be a flex pick. We have the Aurelia as well. There's actually just...
Yeah, I expect it will be Aurelia mid and Parbu picking up the Pike.
Yeah.
He was on the Pike train. Like, genuinely, a lot of people, when, like, some trend happens, they're like, oh, yeah, I was doing it before, it was cool. And it's like, all right, man, like, you wear a coat in summer and then complain that it's hot. Winter finally rolls around. It's like, wow, great job, bud. But Parbu genuinely on top of this one before it was picked up internationally and already has played a game this split. I believe that was a loss there for Gravitas, try as he might, but potentially going to be the Aurelia Gragas top jungle. I mean, sorry, the Pike Gragas top jungle with Aurelia in the mid lane.
Also depends on matchups, to be honest, here from Bombers. Yeah, final lock-in comes through, and it will be the Aatrox and Akali in those solo lanes. I mean, preferably, you kind of want to get the Aurelia outside of the Aatrox matchup, but it's not a big deal if not, especially if it's mid lane.
Yeah.
Don't really want to play on those longer lanes against Aatrox. Yeah, Pike looks like it will go top side though, so it will be the Aurelia into Akali.
Yeah, got about 10 seconds rather,
10
if
seconds.
they want. We just went Kiwi real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, beached is. For them to lock themselves in, but it looks like these will be the lane matchups. Both comps doing fairly similar things, I think, in this game, with Bombers just having more teamfight potential, I expect. Gravitas want to be splitting up and opening up Pike and getting him access around the rift. He really does want Tiamat, Moby Boots, and then to not do anything in his lane ever. Wants to try and get the resets that potentially the Gragas can provide him, but Bombers have a much more standard sort of comp. Rogue on a tried and tested pick in the Rakan is a big engaged support player. Has the Lovers duo down there and will be the one starting things off for the Bombers here in this game.
Yeah, a good amount of engage and disengage actually from both teams, to be honest. Yeah, Civic can go in and out, got disengage out from Lux, same with the Gragas. And yeah, likewise coming in from Bombers.
Yeah, certainly
And
is.
who's this that we have next to us? It's Soul Strikes. Now, Soul Strikes, I've known you for years. My first question is when we're getting ramen, because you promised we were going to get ramen 2 years ago. We still haven't.
Very soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds like a non-commit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Instead of ramen, How do you feel about a piece of Nutella on whole grain toast?
Because
with
I've been told
sprinkles?
this is a classic.
I'm
This
full.
is a delicacy.
I'm full.
He's just screwed his face up massively. Yeah, it looks a bit rank. But a game of League of Legends is going to be happening fairly soon, I expect, with an invade potential here from Gravitas. But I want to speak to you, Lucio Park, about the iterations of rosters you coach in Oceania. There's going to be another double Korean sort of situation here with Wilder and Mimic coming through. Do you think that is a big advantage you have over other coaches in the region, being able to be fluent in both languages?
I definitely can help my team, like set up like I'm like a bridge between like my English and Korean players, but I also think it depends on the players. Like,
Okay.
like for Mimic, for example, he's super happy guy, jolly
Super
guy.
outgoing,
yeah,
yeah.
and he's very social, so it's very easy to work with him. So like any Korean players that's willing to learn English, it's going to have great time in OPL.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Coming through, of course, you were with Mimic on Legacy and now treading over to the Bombers. How are you finding the new roster here? You've got a bunch of new introductions to a fairly established one, coming off a victory in the OPL last split, obviously, but then Wilder coming through and Luch. How's it been? I guess the big question for me is Luch bridging from mid lane to AD carry.
Well, losing FBI and potentially Balkan, they were the big voice in Bombers. So we're essentially in like a new team,
Yep.
and we have to have like someone in our team to step up. So we're still at an early age of figuring out what our team does and what our strengths and weaknesses are. So I think we still need time, and we do have 3 OPL champions.
Yeah, of course.
So we do have that behind our back.
Yeah, I mean, what does success look for, like for you in summer, right? Because obviously win in spring, going to MSI, and then now obviously with roster swaps, like this is where a lot of teams look to ramp up towards Worlds. But are you looking for that Worlds run, or are you looking for next year?
No, I'm definitely looking at the Worlds. I personally haven't won OPL, so I'm really excited to be back in OPL and just prove myself that I can definitely coach it.
To a victory.
Yeah.
To an OPL victory. Yeah, stakes are high. Stakes are certainly high.
Yeah, actually, how do you feel about the composition? I don't think we've actually just asked you
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the game.
I think we have a lot of power picks, and yeah, I'm very happy with our draft. And yeah, once we transition into mid game and we get our top side of the map rolling, it's very difficult for Gravitas's Lux Sivir to survive all our engages.
Yeah, that's fair. We're going to have an engage here. Payless getting just taken out, and that's going to be first blood for you guys. So congratulations,
Yeah.
Soul Strikes.
Let's go.
Yeah, and thank you very much for the interview, and we'll catch you later.
All right. Have ramen later.
I will hold you to that. All right, so
Oh.
first blood.
Yeah. Prayless kind of
Follow
caught in the enemy jungle, but Wilder still wants more. Raid and Decoy have no idea. Oh, now they do. Spotted out on a ward at the Gromp, so honestly fairly lucky. They respected it for a second, and they're like, okay, maybe he could be behind us, but then committed back to the wave. Decoy spotted by the Tremor sense, so Wilder knows what's up.
Yeah, just getting away from this one. Mainly just stopped from taking all of those Krugs, so nice to see that that one was spotted out there by Gravitas. They already knew he was around the area.
And you can see, like, what happened early was probably a set play there from Gravitas, right? It was the level 1 5-man invade. They looked to get that vision control bot side, and then Prayless goes for his red, immediately tracks across and gets caught in the enemy jungle, looked for an engage, and then still stuck around, right? It was the body slam thrown at Rogue. The W came out of the Rakan to dodge it, and unfortunately, Prayless walks a little bit too far back in. The collapse is there, and First Blood did go over fairly early here for Bombers.
This is a nice setup coming in from Wilder once again, really just playing towards that extra information that he has, but Scuttle Crab is playing ball with Prayless, so we'll be able to take that one away. And topside, there was an attempt at the gank in the mid lane. It doesn't quite work out, so we'll look towards the bottom side of the map now, probably taking that crab.
Yeah, fairly mobile lanes here. As you mentioned, Gregor's topside means that Habu's able to just push this one in. Melee stab of the Q does more damage, so you see a lot of solo lane Rakans here. But Wilder has a flank onto Prayless. He knows where he is. That's
Ooh,
a flash.
knockup. I mean, his solo laner is a long time away, so I mean, he gets the flash in return.
Yeah, that is the thing. Got the flash out, but Rogue was the difference. Already rotating through the jungle. Tribush stepped up and was wrapping around the red buff. So if Wilder kind of locked him down, if he was like a stutter step, an extra Teemo forward, then all of a sudden he's in front of the Gragas. The body slam can't buy any space there, and maybe Rogue with a flash of his own could have been enough to lock that one down. So the idea is certainly there. And Bombers, after the first blood, they're continuing to look for the pressure onto the Gragas early.
That being said, whose flash do you think matters more, right? Because we always look towards the early game pre-6 with Gragas for the flash E, for example, right? But similarly, Rek'Sai needs the flash knockup as well for a lot of successful ganks, but still has the tunnel at the same time, you know?
Normally, I look at it in like, who is winning, right? Like, when you're winning, you just have more options. So, like, you want to keep your flash because you can probably do more with it. But in this case, Gragas, like, his early ganks really do come from that E flash much more than the Rek'Sai. Given that she can tunnel through all the fat walls, over League of Legends has those unique gank paths, then I feel like Wilder is probably okay with that trade at the end of the day.
Yeah, felt pretty good just about going for it regardless of the outcome. And bottom lane, yeah, Bomber's just kind of got the priority here, just showing this one in.
Yeah, it is the double TP. Ezreal and Sivir kind of just take that one for themselves. They're very safe, just sit back, play the waves as much as possible, and Luch will match here. Lethal tempo also picked up by both of these AD carries, so scaling later on into this game, attack speed caps will mean absolutely nothing, and auto attacks flying out everywhere, but given that they forced out Praelis from his jungle, Xayah Rakan, as you do expect, has priority. This is a quick walk up to the Dragon Pit.
Yep, first dragon of the game, it will also be an Infernal. Wilder will be able to finish this one with Smite. Nigel's got the fruit, and it's going to be a second Infernal.
Yeah, another one to add to the books in a couple of minutes here, 5 minutes before that one becomes available. But yeah, for both of these comps, right, no matter who is picking up the Infernal, here it is, the Bombers, very happy. You have the Xayah, the Akali, the Aatrox, all of these lanes, triple damage threats. So Infernal is definitely a high prize here in this one. Harry pushing in, getting some vision in the top side jungle with his priority. Very nice use of the ward there.
Yeah, big deal for Pike actually just picking up his Tiamat.
Yeah.
Really important in lane for him. And yeah, because it obviously is behind him far, but is to be expected pre-Tiamat.
Yeah. And really is one of those champions with a huge item breakpoint.
Yeah.
And if you don't get towards it, then your game is significantly worse off. It's kind of like tier champions, you know, if Ryze never gets a reset before he gets his tier. Ezreal can probably deal with it a little bit better, but yeah, Tiamat, very important here. You're not about playing the 1v1, you're about playing the map here, so...
Yeah, this is an interesting teleport out from
Wilder's
Mim, but he
here.
knew that he had Wilder on his way. We'll go for the full commit, and Pabu has already burnt so many of his spells. We're able to dodge through with this one, but Wilder in with the smite, gets the speed up, Flash comes away, Mimic waiting for those cooldowns, but won't be able to get it. Pabu looks for the return there.
Yeah, game is on there, and Mimic calls the Duke. Rogue once again actually being very active this game. Walks out of base with the Moby Boots, a very early purchase, pre-support item upgrade. Of course, Rakan in a matchup where you do get outranged does like to go towards the coin rather than the Spell Thief. It's very hard to proc without auto attacks there. Q really isn't enough to make it viable, so able to just sit on that one by the Moby Boots and look for opportunities all over the place. Gets down here to try and defend his ward, but that's an Aurelia lying in wait.
Yeah, dodging out all those skill shots right there as well. And I mean, Luch obviously had the time to just walk up river, take the crab.
Round
able
two.
to push it in. Pabu senses it though.
Yeah. Pink ward placed there from Wilder was on top of Pabu's ward, so he knew exactly what was going on. Rogue.
I mean, just so much mobility, you know, coming in from the Lovers duo. Very difficult now that 6 has been dinged here by Luch as well, even to look for a tower dive or pushing into them, so.
And that's the thing, right? You say the Lovers duo, because it's not just Rakan. When he doesn't have the Xayah, so much less freedom. Just by nature of not having the double dash and the E, like not having that extra range does give you a lot more room to play with. And you can see Rogue is flirting this game, right? He's walking in the river, he knows people are around, but he can rely on that dash back to Luch always being there. This time just trying to defend his pink ward till the death and gets away with it. Wilder may have found a decoy here, is spotted on a ward, but that's a binding.
Ooh, nice double binding. What does it mean? Not very much.
Yeah. Immediately thought of that as well.
Yeah. Millennials, man, you know, we all think the same.
What's your favorite quote in League of Legends?
My favorite quote?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's difficult. I feel like I know a lot of quotes, but I wouldn't be able to just tell you one off the bat that I would be like, this is my favorite.
I think Ivan has the best ones. And I've said this so many times in the OPL, but you probably haven't heard it. When he's just walking around and he's like, I love when the grass is fluffy in my toes.
You know,
that's actually so good.
We've got a trade in the mid lane. So I don't like goofy champions, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the Zax,
oh, hold that.
but I do like the potential gank here from Praelis.
Fizzles. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like The
No, I
Zax.
don't like the Zax. I don't like the Ivans. I don't like the goofiness. You know, like
Okay.
I look at League of Legends as like a, you know,
You're a hardcore
death
gamer.
match.
Yeah, oh,
yeah,
no.
man. You know, season 2 Riven main. Like, I only want the
Yeah, okay.
the bloodshed, the cool stuff. But
Oh, here we go. Hayri gets a stun.
5-point strike.
Rogue
Toss
is
out the
here.
ultimate, completely dodging out the Vanguard's edge right there. Follow through,
Oh.
2 versus 1. Oh, great knock up coming on to Hayri. That's going to be a kill into the mid lane.
Yeah, the Void Brawler there, Rek'Sai picks it up with the ultimate. Hail of Blades is picked up as well, so Wilder definitely was opting in for the early game damage here. Prayless kind of walking him away with a rotation from Parbu. Blind hook, not going to land.
Shot in the dark,
Oh.
go for it, jumps
Annoying.
forwards. Actually, does not mark the spot.
Okay. I like that play.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's still going to be no deaths on the side of Bombers. Another kill picked up, and the full wave still picked up by Ryoma.
Yeah,
Ryoma.
just kind of baited in Hayri there. Stun landed, yes, and dashes onto the Akali, but the Shroud denies any sort of follow-up. Ultimate did go wide, and Rogue was collapsing once again. That has been the story of this play. He hasn't influenced much, I guess. Well, he's been at both the active kills, but has made it to a couple of plays that didn't eventuate. But the fact that he is there, always kind of looming, bodes well for the Bombers. And of course, Parbu rotating down to try and find that pick, gave Mimic a little bit of extra time solo in the top side, so he pushes that wave in, has broken 2 plates on the Pyke's turret. And unless you're like winning the top side of the map with the Pyke, which is kind of unlikely, right? His turret does tend to kind of get chipped away here and there every time you look for an opportunity, so is getting whittled down ever so slowly.
Yeah, it's getting there. We're about 11 minutes into the game, and Bombers with a healthy advantage.
Yep.
Infernal Dragon also spawning. Ryoma trying to get back to a turret right here. But just turns it around 1 versus 2, no worries.
Decoy looked for the blind binding through the Shroud. Unfortunately, isn't going to land, but Infernal Dragon has spawned once again. Given Prayless is on the top side, you have to think Gravitas conceding this one. And 12 minutes into the game, having an assassin like the Akali with a double Infernal Dragon. A scary thought to think about.
Honestly, this game just feels a little bit just like a death by 1,000 cuts, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just a slow burn right here by Bombers, and by virtue of the first 2 dragons being Infernal, which, you know, will
like
happen.
Speeds things up, right? The Infernal really does make things happen a lot earlier, makes team fights that little bit quicker. And I say quick team fights because Gravitas' comp, especially when you have a Pyke, you can always win something, right? Like a single reset. And I mean, we're talking about a 2,000 gold deficit, right? A single team fight and Gravitas take the lead here, but even against the flow of the game, resets on resets can kind of turn things around, and that's already happened for Gravitas this split. Parbu in his other Pyke game was really the one man standing tall that time, and it was a fight, I believe, under the enemy's mid-turret. He almost turned around, but Rift Herald is kind of eyes on for everyone right now. Bombers have tempo advantage. They flip the map first. Gravitas are kind of going for the long trek here. Raid is very thankful his free ass boots have come through before he has to go for this one.
It's actually a really good point. There's a lot of like win more cards, you know, on the side of Gravitas. You look towards, you know, Pyke Ultimate, resets on Blade Surge, Sivir running forwards, right? Like you get 1 kill, you get them all.
Yeah, and it really, like in this sort of meta, especially when there isn't many tanks, like the losing team does look like they fight back harder, that little bit extra, right? But this is an ambitious play here. Mimic does have TP if he wants to get towards it, but Gravitas 5 members committed.
Blast Cone, but a little too early, honestly, by Wilder. Has to pop the flash right there, which he was going to do anyway, but I mean, just way too early. Stops at 3,000, was maybe waiting for the eye right there, which would have dropped it to about 1k, but I mean, still too early.
And Mimic has been the king of on the way picking the side lane for years in the OPL. He's just like, nah, that's not my fight. I'll just sit down here. So another 3 plates picked up for him. Feeling very good so far, but yeah, Gravitas. Against the flip, Bombers put their bottom lane up there first, but they just go for the hard commit. They get the nice chunk. As you mentioned, Wilder blind over the wall goes that little bit early and may have just cost his team the buff there.
It's the first thing really to go over to Gravitas. And we'll just decide where to place this one down.
Hopefully in the mid lane, I guess.
I mean, one would hope.
Open this up, but 15 minutes into the game so far. Fairly slow between these guys. Just those couple of kills so far. I say that as Wilder is potentially looking for a dive. All of the cooldowns, like given there hasn't been many fights, the cooldowns are there. Rogue can opt for like a flash ult W play. Of course, there's that little bit of a desync now that you do get locked out of movement there. But with a flank, you can pop it early coming from Fog. Gravitas, if they do look for the defense, their jungle mid is coming, but they may be slightly late.
I mean, this is everybody coming in from Bombers right now. Charm knocked up. Will flash away, but taken out by the Void Rush right there by Wilder. Prelist trying to get away from this one, but in comes the Feather Storm. Root comes up. Wilder, maybe a kill in return, but Harry stepping forwards on this. Vanguard's edge. He's literally going 1 versus 3 while Ryoma stops the rest of the team from following up. This one is turning around for Bombers, decoying underneath the turret, and that's 2 kills for 1.
Yeah, Mimic thought about the continued dive, but plays it a little bit more defensive. Backs away, steals a Gromp over the wall. Bombers ultimately double their kills, another 2 in the bank, and take down first brick. They did commit the TP, but Gravitas, they opted in for the defense. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to turn that one around.
It was definitely back and forth though. It was like there was a couple seconds where I was like, this could turn, this could turn back around again, but not to be the case. Still 4-1, and we can actually take a look at that play.
Yeah. And see how Rogue plays this one. Pops the quickness, and then Raid really doesn't have any options, right? You can't spell shield the combo, and spell shielding somebody as they just kind of walk at you gives all of the onus to Rogue, so able to lock down that first kill. We see Hayri dive the backline there. Wilder tries to interrupt the dash, and the cleanup is eventually there, but trades his life 1 for 1. Bombers come out ahead, and Gold Lead still trending in their direction, now about 4.5k here.
Got to see the rest of what the Aurelia was doing, because I was following that initially in the fight and just kind of petered off as it went off camera, but I definitely saw the play right. Like, one more target is slightly lower from the Vanguard's edge. That's reset into potentially a 3rd kill, you know?
Could have been the play they were looking for, but a bit of a race on. We saw Rift Herald race go disastrously for Legacy, but Bombers are hard committing to the mid lane right now. Here's a dive.
Quickness once again, completely locked up. There's nothing that Raid can do at all in that situation. And Bombers now looking towards this tower.
Yeah, no flash, no ability to get out of that one, and Mimic now 1 versus 2 trying to defend the top side as his team continues the push. Note that Ryoma hasn't left bot lane, just solo pushing down here, left completely alone. Bombers, yes, they look at the Rift Tower, they're like, maybe we can't race this, but if we can push 2 lanes for the 1, then maybe we can get a worthwhile trade, and you have to say mid lane outer for top lane outer, definitely worth for the red side of the map.
It's just, it seems like small victories, winning a skirmish here and there, taking under the dragon. This will be the 3rd dragon of the game to Bombers. 5k, almost 6k gold lead. And we're 17 minutes into the game. I mean, it doesn't matter where that gold is going, but it looks like it's just carry oriented, apart from Wilder, of course.
Like, Wilder has been at every single one of these. He's kind of the catalyst of what has been happening in the early game. Him and Rogue kind of walking around the map together, and that's something very nice to see. Like, support jungle synergy is something that is hard to see. It's almost hidden power in League of Legends, especially if you're watching anything other than like the top tier pro level. But for a new team coming through, like new jungler imported here for Bombers, and Rogue kind of making it work so far. Not sure who's the leader in that regard, but definitely kind of walking all over the map together and approaching that Baron pit. 20 minutes is only 2 minutes away, and given the Bombers got a gold lead that have also got good RNG, double Infernal and the Mountain, certainly setting up for a big play around the Worm.
One would imagine Wilder is the one calling the shots. I mean, he's taken a lot of initiative by himself this game. That's not to say Rogue isn't calling some shots as well. But yeah, really setting around top side of the map as Baron is on its way. And yeah, Gravitas pushing in this mid wave.
And you can kind of see right now, it's only small leads in the solo lanes, right? It's a 20 CS lead for the Aatrox and working on a 10 CS lead there for the Aurelia. Hold this, Hayri.
Wrong bush, wrong time. Good duet though. But he is chunked below half.
Yeah, it's forced out of his own jungle, but given that every time Gravitas are like looking for a play, like the double rotation is there, and Bombers are happy to give it to them and just like walk away and look for the side lane push. These leads in the side lanes are only, I think, going to get bigger and bigger as Gravitas kind of feel the pressure mounting of like, we have to make something happen. Baron is starting soon. We need a reset for Pyke. We need to get these fights. We need to get these skirmishes. And as Bombers just look to play all 3 lanes, they look to split open the map. You can see, even without these kills, with a low number of kills so far, gold lead is still just trickling in their direction. A couple of item spikes hit now as well there. Sivir dying twice at the back end of a couple of plays there, sitting on just the Essence Reaver, but Luch has completed the IE. Hextech done for the Akali as well, so...
And it's unfortunately just a couple components behind on almost everybody from Gravitas, especially when you're, 3 minutes away from 3rd Infernal. It's like, if you were double item right now on all of your carries, you'd be like 100%. This is the time to
Yeah,
go.
like,
this is
this
the
is-
time
yeah,
to
this is
fight.
it.
You know, but it's almost at the point unless you can start finishing items between now and then. You just kind of have to give it up because then there's also a Baron. Because what happens? Worst case scenario, you lose Dragon, which is triple Infernal, and you 2 people die, 3 people die. That's Baron as well, and that's basically game, right?
Yeah, it's just like mounting clocks on top of each other.
Yeah.
Have all these timers, and the fact that triple Infernal spawns just adds another one to boot. It just speeds kind of everything up. They've got about 2 minutes to hit those breakpoints before the Infernal, as you mentioned. And then Baron does just become ever so difficult to deal with.
So what's the play? Guerrilla Warfare, look to find a pick here and there, like take the vision advantage, because this almost seems like a lose-lose situation from Gravitas.
Well, I think it is like what they were doing right now. Hayri in the top side was just sitting there farming up waves, and he did get his Triforce, so incredibly important, and I think he will be pinnacle to them actually getting a pick off in this fight. Pyke is kind of weird in that he doesn't really need items that much, right? Like, yes, you are a solo laner, yes, you need to scale into late game, but resets are really where he does shine, and it's very important for Bombers to be able to deny that initial pick. And I liked what Gravitas were doing. They're setting up members towards the bottom side to try and contest that vision, but it looks like the complete flip here. Immediately as I say that, Pabu is now alone down there. They're getting some Baron vision. Maybe with the Mountain, maybe with the double Infernal, they're afraid of Baron just being snuck from underneath them, but it does mean that they're going to lack vision around the Infernal. The Bombers are inevitably going to set up in a couple of minutes.
It's almost a dumb statement, but it's just like you look at this comp from Gravitas and you can look at them and maybe they do nothing all game and you're like, well, that was a crap comp. But then you also get a composition or a fight where they kill everybody because they get the first kill.
But this could be the start of it. Aatrox in between 3. The vision control is up here, and this is going to be a difficult one to manage.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mimic 1 versus 3, constant CC coming through, managing. Oh my god, the damage though from Mimic. Traps Praelis in place, finds the first, looks towards the second into Pabu, in comes the teleport. 1 versus 3 double. Flash away by Hayri. He has to make it happen, and Mimic pulling out a huge play.
But that was it for Gravitas. That is the pick they needed that maybe got them the next fight. This, round number 2, Wilder caught out, but not enough damage.
And in the mid lane, they're just going to return onto Raid. 3 kills cross map.
Yeah, a single pick turns into triple there for Bombers. And they don't even want the Baron. They don't want the Dragon in 20 seconds. They want the base. Respawn still ticking down here for the blue side, and this is a base under fire at 22 minutes.
I mean, Mimic, what an absolute monster.
Yeah.
1 versus 3. Didn't even drop below half, I don't think.
I'm going to say it. Who knew the second part of Aatrox W actually dealt damage?
Right?
Because I didn't. But somehow he's able to clean this one up. We see how he does it, right? The stun was used by Hayri very early and then kind of for absolutely no reason. That amount of damage was disgusting, and I couldn't believe Kralis died there, but yeah, the damage just wasn't there. The cooldowns, I think, a little bit of misuse there from the solo laners, and Pyke, without the damage up front, he relies on the resets, and wasn't to be. Mimic turns it around. As soon as he gets the first pick, he will get that revive with the ulti, and Gravitas have no answer.
It was just really nice buying of time and target selection at the right time. Spotting that Gragas is full AP, you know? Like, he is the target if you're going to take down first. As you're right, like, forgetting that W also deals damage, just the fade away.
It's also like, not even, for me, genuinely, not even forgetting. Like, I've never seen it, like, tick a reasonable amount of damage, and I'm like, oh, okay. He picks that one up, and you can see also it was kind of reactive from Bombers, right? Like, if they were expecting that sort of play, they're like, oh, Mimic, if you get ganked, you can live, we can TP. Then Ryoma would have landed like 7-8 seconds earlier as soon as they showed and maybe dissuaded the play. But it was like, okay, Mimic, you're screwed. We're pushing the other side like they've done the entirety of this game. And he's just like, okay, one's dead. And all of a sudden Ryoma's like, yeah, man, I'm in. Like, get me into the play. TP's to the side lane and wants a piece of the action now. With all of this control, with all of those kills going over, they feel brave enough to start the Baron.
I mean, we're talking about comeback opportunities and what does it look like for Gravitas, but it's almost like it went literally the worst it possibly could have done, right? Like, I can think of very few other scenarios outside of the game ending that would have been just the nail in the coffin. But, I mean, 1 versus 3, you lose 2, you try to go for another pick, you lose the middle lane, you go for any type of vision, Baron's dead. You also lost the Infernal while that was happening.
Yeah,
like,
in the replay.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't criticize the play, right? Looking for that pick, if Mimic does fall down, yes, he's off the map for 30 seconds, then maybe you get the Infernal, but fortunately not the case. Pabu doesn't get ripped back.
No, but he is between a rock and a rogue place, and he is certainly dead.
For half a second, I was like, is Rogue not going to hit him? Is he just like,
Just like
he's
gonna
just
let him
walking
go?
past, like, bit of a mercy play there. But no, turns around, feathers him in the face, and fortunately falls down. They were just looking for the trade. They're like, yes, Baron is gone.
Yeah.
We can't contest. We want the side lane turret, but couldn't even break that one down on the pike and does get picked up.
Yeah, this is looking like a snowball win right here, honestly, from Bummers. And you're right, you know, you can't criticize the play. Yes, you can criticize the execution, but like, you look at the textbook, 101 League of Legends when you're behind, and what does it say? You try and kill the side laner.
Yeah, like you can't fight them where they're strong, right? You have to pick on someone. Mimic was the lone wolf, and unfortunately for Hayri, like if he had stun, if that lands, then Mimic probably dies, right? It's chain stun from the Aurelia into the body slam. He gets knocked into the wall. It's so easy to manage Mimic when he's kind of being thrown around by your abilities, but
It was also kind of like wrong place, wrong item spike as well, because Mimic, I believe, had just finished his death stance, which meant that like the instant burst wasn't
The
going to
Q
kill him
auto
regardless.
just-
Yeah.
Oh.
And he gets all his health back, you know? It's like, it was just almost the perfect time for Mimic to look for that 1 versus 3. And now we've just got a classic split, you know?
Yep.
Rayoma is just pushing up the top lane, taking his tower down. Like, there are too many big threats for Triple Infernal that you just need more people, you know? You just like, if I could have 8 or 9 players on this map right now, if you're Gravitas, that would be optimal.
Yep.
But yeah, there's just too much strength individually. First tower drops in the inhibitor line.
That's the inhib going to go down as well. The full court press here from Bombers. Gravitas, they popped the Sivir ulti on the hunt here.
And you've got to make it happen, but Mimic actually 1 versus 5. Okay, that's going to be a little too much to chew off, but top lane got cracked because of it. Mid lane being sieged in as well. He's the martyr that the team needed.
Close to claiming Prayerless once again, but does mean that triple inhib turrets do fall down. Luch with a rapid fire is able to take that hook. Does land, but
It's onto Rogue.
yeah, Rakan gets to do that, you know, often tanks the CC, dashes back to his allies and has dashes all over the place, so puts himself between him and his carries, between the enemies, and able to deal with that. So the base is definitely broken, right? And I feel
Yes,
like
you
that
could
would have
see that.
been a hard point for Bombers in terms of like comp-wise. Like we were saying it in the game against Legacy, as the map gets smaller and smaller, it does become more and more difficult. But this is an 11,000 gold lead at probably 25 minutes-ish when they had that one set up with the Baron, and now base broken in every single avenue means they can look for those flanks if they want. They can get behind an inhib to look for a fight and potentially look to close this one out. Baron in another 2.5 though, probably the next port of call.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's almost just no safe bastion right now for Gravitas, right? Like, you would look at the inhibit sign, that's no longer there. You look towards double Nexus turrets and like, well, that's almost just not enough at this point. So outside of just like a fountain laser fight, you know, it's like, you know.
It's like one of those things where you're looking at it, it's like, oh, it's another Sivir comp, I guess. Like, if there's another half an hour, then maybe this can happen.
Yeah, but it's a different situation from last game, right? Because there wasn't the siege, oh, it didn't work out, now you've bought 5 more minutes. And then that happening twice and being like, okay, it's on the cards. This is a situation where opponent ADC is ahead by a lot. Triple Infernals, Baron, like, Inhibitors is about to go down, also earlier in the game as well, you know? Like, there's definitely things that you can pick apart in that.
And I feel like the summoner you kind of have to look at right now is Prayerless and the Flash. They want an engage. They bait out the Featherstorm, but Rogue
goes
he's
in
dead.
and insta-dies.
That's a
Oh,
reset.
nice double stun coming in as well from Harry. He gets knocked up on the backside of that from Mimic.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I appreciate the look right there, but looking towards this inhibitor is actually the play
binding.
from Bombers. Gravitas firing back. There's a lot of defensive tools here from Bombers, however. Lucius needs to get away from this one. This might be Gravitas smelling blood in the water. Ryoma turning around, though. He gets rooted. Fantastic banning so far from Decoy. Turns it around, dodges out the laser. And Bombers, after all of that, what was a lot of dancing back and forth, do manage to take all the inhibs, now just need to get out alive. Luch on the foot lines, but he stands and delivers! Takes down 2. Mimic turning around, pushing on to Raid. While they're flying through as well. Nice double kill coming in from Bombers, and now it almost looks like a win could be on the cards right here. No, gonna back it off.
Yeah, and Bombers, they don't even need Rogue. He gets the initial engage and eventually does fall down, and they're like, yeah, look, 4v5, we're still gonna turn this one around. Able to claim couple of takedowns there. Luch kind of time after time lost the Featherstorm, then lost the Flash and ran out of defensive options. So as soon as the binding did land, they're locked down and had no choice. No, Jesus. No choice That was a struggle. But
It sounded like you were going for noise,
Yeah,
and
no,
it was
it's
a
like-
noise play. Right?
just amalgamate the two words, put them together, and noise.
But it was like, for a forced turn and burn, pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, well, I have to fight. I guess I'll just kill 2
Yep.
on my way out, right? That was 5th dragon, by the way, just picked up by bombers. There's actually, wait,
We're getting
is there a 6th?
We're getting.
I don't know if I've
another
casted the game in my life where I've seen 6 dragons
Yeah.
that hasn't been an Elder Dragon.
I guess the scoreboard bar at the top of the screen is enough for 6 dragons and the face of like an elder, right?
Correct.
You can get 2 more
Well,
icons in there.
what happens if we go beyond that, right?
Does the elder one appear and then disappear as the buff wanes?
I don't know.
I have no idea. We've never
It's
had it
uncharted
happen.
territory.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting one if we got there. I expect we certainly won't with the next uncontested Baron being picked up. Bombers have had 2 of those these games. Gravitas not willing to fight at all here.
No, I mean, it's very difficult. You're looking for, like, the perfect engage onto the perfect person.
Yeah.
And someone making a misstep simultaneously.
And they used so many buttons, right? Pabu did get a reset last fight. Yes, he can look to mimic that once again. Did land some nice hooks, but Praelist without Flash is their big
Ryoma.
engage tool, right? It has to be that or an opportunistic binding, and you have to rely on Bombers misstepping for that to work. So a single inhib or Nexus turret, I guess, does die. Next one, very close.
And really just letting the minions do the work. That's a nice double root coming through from Bombers. And it's a slow burn right here, forcing the engage. Vanguard's edge is good, but just sent to the bouncy castle, taken down. The rest of the team just scrambling to stay alive, maybe keep some of those KDAs alive. But Bombers all over the Nexus, and it will be a win at 31 minutes.
Yeah, very clean was that victory there from the Bombers. Early laning phase, get a couple of kills, open that one up. Triple Infernal Dragon, and unfortunately Gravitas never really had a look in there. Reliable with a gold lead. Another good game for Luch, specifically. That's the guy with a lot of eyes on him, I guess. Role swapping coming into the split one Victors here on the Bombers, and good side performance there. Bombers certainly ramping up together this split.
Yeah, I mean, Fortune obviously smiling on them with Triple Infernal in the early game.
Yeah.
Like, the opportunity to go towards that. But at the same time, like, I always feel like without those Infernals, we had a similar, if not the same result.
Like it wasn't the change. It wasn't the difference,
Yeah.
right? Like, those leads were happening regardless, and then it was just a win more. It's a reset. It's a Triple Infernal. Gets you, like, a little bit of extra damage that you wouldn't have otherwise had.
Which
so.
is actually what Gravitas wanted, right? Like, they
Yeah.
wanted a win more scenario. But
Yeah.
it was just like, I'm you, but better.
Yeah. Also, Nick just came in. This is the piece of thing that we were delivered.
No, I don't know if this is like an initiation to becoming an Australian, at which point I feel like I should eat it, right? Which I don't want to offend a nation.
You've been here before for a very long time, so I feel like initiations are like long past their prime here.
Yeah, I mean, you can be part of a group but never be truly initiated, right?
Oh, okay, fair. Also, you've never been an OPL caster. You're
Correct.
an LPL caster.
No, I did cast League of Origin a couple of years ago.
Yes, true.
Yeah, at which point I backed New Zealand, to be fair. So, so maybe I should eat the toast.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it from us. We're going to
Yep.
send it back to Nick Boy and the couch.
It's not an initiation ceremony. I was
Just
just
a
trying-
teller and fairy
We were
bread.
trying to give him a sugar high.
trying to give you a sugar high, and I'm just getting slapped left, right, center from you. Now Bryce has a punching bag, buddy. Not happy.
Because, and if anyone believes in the sugar high, DJ Paulie B should believe in the sugar high. Because so often, back in the day, and I'm not talking about like now DJ Paulie B, I'm talking about back in the day when he was in the Chiefs gaming house, it would get to about 10 o'clock at night, scrims would be done for the day, maybe a little bit mentally taxing on the last iteration of the Chiefs, and Sammy D and DJ Paulie B would go for a snacky run, a little bit of a chalky run, and they would come back to the house, and they would be bouncing off the walls until 3 a.m.
No, you know what peak me gamer situation was? It was 2015 All-Stars, and we were like catered lunch at like Rod Laver Arena, and I just ate like Twix bars and I was just eating chocky and chips. That's it. It was great.
Thanks, man.
See, so if anyone knows about a sugar high, it's that man, because he loves a sugar high.
Bryce, Chocky and Chips, Paul.
Chocky and
There you
chips.
go. Beautiful. All right. Well, we've reviewed Bryce's snacking habits.
Yep.
Let's talk about the game we just saw.
Oh,
Bombers?
We do that now?
Yeah, we do that right at the end. I mean, we got to put something in between all the airing of grievances.
There isn't a whole lot to talk about in that game. Bombers got the lead early and they kept it. They got the dragons that they wanted as well, and we didn't get to see anything like the last game, which was extending the duration of the game too much. You know, Bombers, honestly, that was a game that felt much more like playing with their food than the prior.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like, I'm kind of the opposite. I read a lot into that game because to me, that looks like split one Bombers, but with 2 new players, right?
Yeah.
And like we've always said that this roster could be a time bomb because it takes a little bit of time to transition Luch to AD carry. Well, I think he's just finished the game 6-1 and 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Made like maybe a couple of positional errors, but otherwise a really great laning phase coming out of Luch and like a pretty good positional team fight AD carry there. And they're playing things like Zaya Rakan, which is that's a traditional marksman.
Yeah.
Like that's not like a mage marksman, right?
Yeah.
So I think like me reading into that, like really great signs from the Bombers bottom lane. Wilder really active in this game, like appreciated the Rek'Sai. Mimic 1v3ing, Ryoma on split push. They're playing the map. They're playing 1-3-1. They're like 100% on the right page. They know when to teleport. They know when to sack and just trade objectives. This is a team that I was very hopeful was going to maybe take 8 weeks to get it together and potentially miss playoffs, so we didn't have to play them. But you know what? It looks like they're really, really good in week 3. So, I mean, if you're a Bombers fan, you've got to be really, really happy with how they just performed against Gravitas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I will say Wilder is the person that I look at the most and like you should be the most surprised about. When you think about where he came from, it was a region that was really slow. And my concerns with him is always going to be slow player, methodical style.
Yep.
Welcome to the danger zone. Like just get high octane, see how he goes. And he's really actually flourished in that environment.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think, you know, once again, like just cannot stress this enough. This is a team that has so much pressure on them when you're flying the flag of the Essendon Football Club. You know, the 100,000 so members that Essendon's got running around. They just got smacked last night at Optus Oval over in WA. They come in today and they have a really good victory. Rusty and I are still feeling the football loss, apparently.
They
and,
did get smacked.
Yeah, but this is a team that, you know, they just won the OPL final. And they would have expectations on themselves to get back to that. And to be able to do so quickly is, like, really, really positive to me.
Well, a positive game for the Bombers, indeed, and a positive evening for everyone.
Ray of sunshine. Spawn.
That's all you are.
Ray of sunshine.
That's what I say. By the way, I just want to say that my favorite part of the OPL is when we're upstairs watching the games and something happens and one of the three of us will go like, I know exactly what this person is going to say in this scenario. And that happened in the last game where where Bryce asked
What's your
asked Pulse,
favorite?
what's your favorite league quote? And who was it?
It was Rusty.
Rusty goes, Bryce is going to talk about Ivan and the grass between his toes. And then 10 seconds later, Bryce is like, I don't know if you've heard this story. But, that
Which
just
I've told
gives me
1,000 times.
a lot of satisfaction. Something that should give you satisfaction is the MPL. It is starting up directly after this broadcast. We had some submissions, a fair few submissions actually for Twitch emotes. Unfortunately, some of you guys can't play tonight. Thank you for the submission. Sorry about the timing. And some of you are international, and the ping is going to kill you. But we do have 3 people that we're going to put in the MPL tonight. That is Dragon Coon, Sleepy Australia, Emerald, and Lady Dubsy. Actually, one of those people is the overseas person, so I don't know who it is.
Drag Kun is definitely international.
There you go. So Sleepy Australia, Emerald, and Lady Dubsy, you are playing in the MPL. We will have a password protected game, so I will shout out the password
For 2 more people?
for 2 more people to join, and you can jump in and have some fun. Before that, though, let's go over the results from today. Graphic. Beautiful.
We're just so in sync.
Direwolves fall to the getting stronger and stronger Avant Gaming Mammoth. Take out order in game number 2. The Chiefs topple Legacy for game 3, and Gravitas cannot withstand the might of the mighty Bombers in game 4. Tomorrow, there is a chance for teams to redeem themselves. Graphic. It's Bombers versus Direwolves game number 1.
Banger.
Banger. Legacy versus Gravitas.
Banger.
Banger. Like genuine banger. Order versus Chiefs.
Banger.
Banger. And
I will tell
Avant
you about the last one.
taking on
Lord.
Mammoth.
Double banger. That is the banger to end all bangers.
Double banger with cheese.
That
It is. That is like, I'm so excited about Avant versus Mammoth. Because in my head, Mammoth, like they're turning into scaling creatively. You know, I always have the rant. and Ivan are just like chaos theory, League
Absolutely.
of Legends. So I'm really excited to see how they match up against each other. Can Mammoth hold on to the early game? It's going to be very exciting.
There's only one way to find out, and that is to tune in to the OPL tomorrow. The way to find out the winner of the entire split, though, let's come to MEO. Tickets are available. That's the only way. We're not going to stream
Don't worry
it.
about this
you
one,
have
Nick.
to turn up
I
live.
got this.
Please.
OPL final live from
Good
the Melbourne
Lord.
Esports Open in Melbourne, Australia. You can go there. You can get some great coffee. You can get some great meals. Very good multicultural city. The greatest place in the world to live. And it's the greatest esports event, potentially, ever. Because we're going to be there.
If you don't like coffee, you might be like Bryce. There's definitely still Chocky and
Yeah,
Chippy there.
exactly.
We're all covered.
So please come to the MEO. We would love to see you there. It is a really fantastic weekend. I cannot wait for it.
Banger.
Let's just, I say, banger. Let's just ignore the rest of the split and jump right to the finals. Isn't that the good stuff?
Yeah.
We've eaten
If
enough
we're going to put
vegetables.
2 teams in the finals right now,
Yeah.
I'd say Ivan in order. Let's just do it.
You know,
Let's
that's a
skip the
great
rest of the
suggestion.
split.
Sure,
That's
absolutely,
right.
yeah. And if I had a team, let's throw them in there as well. A big thank you to our sponsors for making the whole OPL possible. Of course, McDonald's, the
Macca's?
official partner. Macca's, please, we're in Australia. Macca's, the official partner of the OPL. We've got M-Wave, or Wave Eckers. They are the official retailer of the OPL. HyperX, the official headset of the OPL. And Pulse, the most officially tired person in the OPL.
We finally have an official play-by-play.
It's well,
the OPL.
Do we? I mean, he may just like pass out and never wake up.
That's dark.
That's really dark. That's technically death, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you think about it like that, that's just. I just said that he might die, and we all die at some point, but hopefully not before the MEO. So buy
And
your
hopefully
tickets.
this stream dies eventually.
The stream will never
We
die
have
because we are
ARAMs.
heading into the MPL. We're doing some
true.
ARAMs. I'm very excited. We need 2 more players, so there will be a password. You won't be able to guess it. I will announce it at the stream. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Peace out.